Vander, you're sitting in a tent in the salt wastes, not far from the entrance to the pass-through. And you've got on the most ridiculous jacket, helmet, puffy and strange, and Abigale strikes the zipper up. There you go. Now, nobody will recognize you. We go through, we get the supplies we need, and we go right back out. You look ridiculous, by the way.
I know. But Abigale, this is going to be dangerous. If they even get a hint that I'm here, we could be in trouble.
They won't know a thing. I'm good at this. And she takes the hood and unfurls it over, and you look at this point like some snow traveler with this fur collar around the hood. And she pulls the black bandana kind of up over. You certainly don't look like Vander.
You don't look like an innocent little girl. You got a lot. People would underestimate you. You can use that to your advantage.
And later, as you approached the checkpoint, the gate, this is before they were checking bags, you walked up, and the man who was guarding... Hey, you look familiar. What clan are you with?
I don't think you look familiar to me, friend. I'm not affiliated with any clan, but if there's any out there that are looking to bolster their ranks, I might be inclined to join.
Yeah, I think you got it wrong. Although I think I know where you know him from. Let me tell you. And she scurries onto the door and lets herself in, closing it, kind of leaving you standing outside alone as the voice and the eyes kind of leave the see-through hole. And you're just standing there.
Can I walk up to the door and try to listen in?
You walk up and roll perception.
15.
It's like you approached at the end of a conversation. Really? I find it unexpected. Anyway, and that's why he can't be the person you're looking for. Yeah, I mean, I guess I have no choice but to believe you. And suddenly the door opens. Be pushed back a bit. Come on. We're heading through.
Right.
Have a good day, sir.
You too.
As you step through, she grabs onto the puffs of your jacket. And you are going to get me some snacks while we're here, because I just saved your ass.
I'll add it to the tally. It's, the number's getting awful big. But you've earned it. Gotta ask. What did you tell him?
Well, I can be very convincing. I just told him you were somebody else. They believed me. Just like that.
All right. Well, if it worked, it worked. It's quite convincing.
By the way, your last name is Puff Bottom now.
All right. Can't say I'd oppose it too much.
I can. It's terrible. All right, Puff Bottom.
Well, Puff Bottom it is then. So, where are we heading?
Candy stand.
That's right, candy. All right.
You step in to the room that Penny has ushered you to. In it is a metal table, 2 metal chairs, and he rounds you and goes to the one facing the door and pulls out the chair and sits before you. He says, "All right, Vander. It's time to balance the books. Would you please empty out?"
All right, Penny. It's long overdue at this point. I will take the bag. Not empty it, but I am going to set it on the table in front of him. It's 2,000 script in there.
2,000?
That should be more than enough to square our debt.
Now where does someone like you get your hands on so much script?
Well, I have been out in the waste for a very long time. Scrounging, surviving, doing jobs. I've been saving up over the years. Now I had something very important I was going to do with this money. But I am one who honors his deals and his arrangements, so I owe you, and I plan on paying you. Is this enough?
Well, let's first make sure that it's all there. Like I said, would you please empty it for me? I don't want to encounter any traps as I peer into your bag.
Should I do it one piece at a time?
No, you can just turn it out.
Okay. That's what you want, Penny. I will grab the bag, and I will dump it onto the table.
As you grab the bag, maybe it was the tension earlier, but you hadn't noticed this, but it feels a lot lighter. And as you open it, I mean, if you mime the gesture of pouring it out, nothing comes out. Yet. Well. Now that's a lot of script. I have to hand it to you. Might even be more than 2,000 there, but I'm just eyeballing.
I'm a bit confused here, Penny. I assure you I have the script. I don't know what's going on with this bag.
I see it. It's... Of course you do. I'm surprised, actually.
Okay. So we're good then.
Well, let me see. I have to count it first. And before you, an empty table, he takes his hand and puts it on the table, miming the gesture of picking up one and putting it into a pile, and then picking up another and putting it into a pile. And 10 minutes goes by as he sits before you, miming this gesture of making a pile of script until it gets to a certain height, because every time he places one, his hand ends just a little bit higher off the table. And finally he says, 2,000 was an undercount. I see 2,650.
Well, your math is certainly better than mine. If I'm not one to argue with you on that.
Honestly, I can't believe that I'm sitting here before you and about to be settled. I was thinking of just teaching you a lesson. 500 became a lot more, and you know who I am. There's almost no number you could have told me that I wouldn't have decided otherwise, but that's a very large number, and I think it's enough to start anew.
Yeah, I could work with that.
Did you need this for anything? I could give you a loan.
Well, if anything I have learned over these years is that you are very serious about your loans. I'm tempted, but for now I think we should just call ourselves square.
Square it is, then. You know where to find me, Vander. Have a good day.
Yeah. You too, Penny. Am I free to go, then?
I was thinking of killing you, but I've changed my mind. Take care.
Right. You do the same. And I make my way to the door.
You go to the door, put your hand on the doorknob, and as you turn it, it opens. And you step out, seeing, patiently waiting, Dr. Glass, Nihilus von Stonen, Esper, her arm over Trevor, and Trevor. And interestingly, you don't see Abigale. You see Bandit, though. He's sitting on the ground. His tongue is hanging out of his head.
Guys, we are free to go, but where's Abby?
You feel a tap at the back of your leg. Right here! As she appears from behind you.
Right. Yeah, I guess this whole situation is taken care of.
Seems that way, but let's get out of here then, huh?
Yeah, let's go.
And she takes the lead and walks past the guards, the goons rather, who step aside for you.
Well, I'm not one to question my good fortune. Let's go, guys.
Yes, let's.
Place gives me the creeps. Let's go.
Before stepping forward, Nihilus takes another look at Abigale, trying to have at least a sense of... trying to think back, at least. How long would they have? Does he have a rough guess? From seeing Abigale these last few moments, does he have a sense of how long she could go without medical care that she needs?
You can roll a medicine check.
Would love to. 9.
You see she's a little bit blue at the skin. She breathes more frequently and more heavily, but still she's managing. And with what you know about this illness, what little, it's hard to tell, but she's here, and she seems to be good enough to walk ahead, and she is walking ahead briskly. She's already made a few people's worth of space between the rest of you, and she looks back wantingly for you to carry forward.
Dr. Glass speaks into Abigail's mind. You seem awfully chipper, my dear. I hope this isn't some sort of disease-induced euphoria.
You hear back, just trying to leave. And she steps out into the much fresher air that is the island of Crowperch. You step out after more than a month in the salt wastes, and you see the sky, what few trees there are, the jagged mountains, the citadel spire in the distance, and dry dirt beneath your feet.
Abigail, what the hell was that?
I mean, it seemed to me that you had your meeting and everything was accounted for.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that happened.
All right.
Just
How are you feeling?
Like I could pass out. I think I've been better, but definitely better than her. And she looks over towards Esper, who is barely conscious. And at this point, Trevor, you'd likely have to pick her up because she's not walking anymore.
Yeah, as that happens, Trevor just kind of mutters like, "Yeah, can I get a rundown of what happened there? You gave him the money?"
I thought I did, but... Abby, is this going to come back to bite us in the ass?
In about 10 minutes.
What's going to bite us in the ass in 10 minutes?
She turns to reveal her bag, and as she opens the flap, you see 2,000 scrip inside of it. She closes it gently in front of you.
When Penny finds out he's been duped again, there ain't gonna be another chance. Like, he is gonna want to kill me even more now.
Oh, we made it. She smiles. And he's not gonna get us.
Playing an awfully risky game, Abby. Awfully risky.
I guess that's the price of swimming with sharks, right? You don't get to choose what tank you're in. We're in danger no matter what, I think. So let's just thank our lucky stars and get to a doctor.
Let's skedaddle.
Yes.
Abigail, that was wonderful and incredibly stupidly dangerous. Let us immediately leave. I don't know how to feel, but we should leave. But a smile? I don't know. Let us just leave. Hallelujah, we have the sun.
There's one path to the Citadel, and perhaps for the first time, you kind of know roughly where you are. You know you're in the north side of the island. You can see the sun and where it is. And you know that people are going to be coming after you very soon. You have the road, you have the mountains, you have the forests. The world is your oyster. And Abigail turns and says, "This is the farthest I know what to do. Tell me, where do we go?"
Wait, where are we right now? Did we just leave civilization?
You emerged from a metal wall built into a mountain. Around you is what seems to be very decayed old buildings that are in the latest stages of crumbling. And Vander, you'll recognize this place as Salt Town, which is one of the original civilizations that has fallen waste to time and is where you'll find the entrance to the pass-through. That said, there's one road from here that goes back to the Citadel, and then a bunch of places where somebody might carve a path with a wagon if they had to go somewhere else. There's also the whole island. You can go wherever you want.
So we just left Salt Town?
Just stepped out of the pass-through. You're in the decaying Salt Town.
Okay.
There's nothing to it. It's just
Gotcha.
rubble.
So what's the fastest way to a doctor? How long will it take us to get to a doctor?
That would be the Citadel, I believe.
We have possible reason to believe that our friends or companions on the Citadel as well. No, it's not safe. None of this island is safe at this point, but it's our objective. It's where I will go.
And according to Esper, it's where the new friend we left at Dredgewell's is trying to lure me. This would be a good time for... Well, at this point it's the best time available, as the past is no longer available. Vander, we should fess up that we're being hunted as well. Or I am, at least.
Well, it seems we share that in common then.
Oh. Well, I think at this point we all have a target on our back, one way or another. I have the Kinstonian Church on my back. Possibly, most likely, certainly. One of those things. Don't forget, and he looks at Trevor, we have a royal household, I believe, on someone else's back here.
I think we all got baggage one way or another. I think we just... If there ain't nothing safe on this island, I'm not going back to the wastes, so let's just pick a point and walk, and as far as I can tell, Trevor's gonna kind of give a bit of a look around. I mean, the Citadel is like the centermost landmark of the island. Seems about as good a place as any. If he wants to take people, I mean, I ain't gonna put you in danger that you don't want. If we need to get ready for war, we should do that, right?
I've certainly put you all in danger that you didn't want. I don't know that it matters particularly where I go. I just feel poor Esper spat in Death's face to tell that man she would never lure me to the Citadel. Not for him or anyone. Dr. Glass doesn't know what she's doing, but she looks up at the sky and tries to do that thing Felix did to see if she can feel their hunter.
Please roll perception with advantage.
16 perception.
You close your eyes, look to the sky, and try to feel the energies around you. You remember being in that apartment of Dredgewell and feeling this hunter like a tsunami on the horizon, an unstoppable force whose power far exceeds anything you could have imagined. But as you open your mind, you sense not that. Not this tsunami in the distance looming and coming towards you, but it's interesting. Now that you know this, you know how to do it, you sense from the Citadel this constant radiance of psychic energy. Not looming, not coming for you, but just ever present. Like the tide that flows in one direction and never another. But no hunter.
And she looks at the others and says, if the Citadel is our best bet for medical care, well, it's also probably our best bet for answers and finding our friends. And let's be honest, I was going to wind up there anyway, wasn't I?
Maybe. This is a distinct possibility. Whether we got drugged there or walked there ourselves could be anyone's guess. But, that seems to be the spot. Place to be. Where all the people that got taken. Where you can get Esper, Abigale, some help. It just... We could keep running, but at this point, I ain't got time to run. So, I'll go wherever you want.
I would like to mention, although I don't think it's a good idea, I know there's a place where there would be guaranteed medical care. I'm not saying we would even get it, but it would be, well, at the asylum, St. Katrina's, on the southern side of the island, right? On the opposite of where I guess that we are. That way we wouldn't directly go towards the Citadel. We could avoid it while we get more information. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I'm also not saying that the Citadel is a good idea. But we're going in blind. Either way. I've been in the asylum before, Espers did before. They don't like us, but they do they have to respect the law and the word of a doctor. Last time we were there without one, we could try I forgot his name. He had a really silly name. The Espers doctor?
Faust. Dr. Faust.
Right.
At St. Seraphina's.
Right. There would be guaranteed medical care there.
I'll be honest with you, Nihilus. If I don't remember if I'd said this before, but my chief aim in coming to this island in the first place was to gain access to St. Seraphina's. I think there are people like me being kept there against their will. Nightjars. Psychics.
Sorry, that's the place where Faust is?
Saw him in the flesh.
Yes, we didn't realize that when you all went to see him. We assumed it would be someplace in Port Hillcrest, and then you were practically abducted to the asylum.
Sorry, just forgive me if I'm speaking out of class. I don't want to put words in Esper's mouth while they're all out of it. Wouldn't that just be throwing her right back in the mouth of the beast?
Trevor, look at her. I don't know what's causing this. Not truly. I have a sense. I have an educated guess. Look at her. She needs help. Yesterday, this last month has been so cruel to her. Yes, we're throwing her in the place that she doesn't like, but she needs help. Needs medical care, and this is a place that guaranteedly has it. I know it sucks.
Nihilus language.
You make a valid point. If she needs help quickly, I mean, the asylum's a much further journey. The Citadel's much closer. Not that I would. I mean, it's not as good. It's not a good choice either. But there is a distance involved with the asylum.
Yeah, but at least, Doc, forgive me, at least you're awake to object, right? We go to the Citadel, we could get probably just as much doctors, right? Like, it's the biggest thing. It's...
You make a fair point indeed.
I mean,
Doctors owned by whom?
I don't know, but it's not someone we know.
I think I do know. I think the Van Torns, to be honest. We not only would we have to find a doctor, while we are in danger of being right under the Van Torns' noses, I don't think there's a single person over there we could actually trust. I assume everyone's over there in their pockets, by the way how I've seen them operate now.
Now, Wes, in all my skullduggery in Sovereign Seagate, the year I've been back trying to hunt down Felix, and I'd been unraveling this conspiracy that led me here, I know that, I strongly believe that there's corruption and intrigue going on at this asylum, but I hadn't heard anything about the Van Thorns. linked to this asylum, had I, specifically?
Roll history with a DC of 14.
It is a 21 history.
I mean, look, the island of Crow Perch is so rife with corruption that anything is possible. But direct references, no. It is a medical asylum. They would have provisions, and even though doctors like Dr. Faust might be despicable in many ways, still doctors.
That's what I thought. Look, all these points are excellent, but I've had my eyes and ears on this asylum for some time. I've done underhanded things and sifted through the minds of the elite and the rich to find the connections to this asylum, and they're ordinary villains. Then I'm sure they've done favors for the Van Thorns, but they're not owned by the Van Thorns. I would know that by this point. I think they're separate from the politics of this island, in a way.
So? Like, great. They're a different flavor of evil. Doctor, Nihilus, you saw what Esper was like. What she was made into. You want to just do that all over again? Undo all the progress that she had done?
Of course I don't, Trevor. Look, I'm saying I don't have an answer, but I'm saying I have a possible solution. Doctor, do you want to bet her life on it? That we will find medical assistance at the Citadel?
In fact, I think that what you're fearing, Trevor, is coming from the Citadel. That I sense this psychic pulse, and our hunter wanted to bring me there. There are horrible people at the asylum, but also normal doctors and people I know how to handle. Nihilus, you were there. You had a sense of the facility. Is it someplace that we could, is it a fortress, or could we maybe escape if we needed to?
No.
You see Abigale is sitting on the ground, holding her chest.
Abby, what's wrong?
Just having a little... And her eyes close and she falls backward. She's breathing, but it's shallow. You hear, in the doors that you've breached previously, some yelling over the hill, the crest. And you hear, "Find him!" over the hills roll.
Listen, you see, just still keeping Esper in his arms. I'll go wherever you take me. I don't care about I don't care about me. Alright, just... If we go to Seraphina's, if we go to Faust, and anything happens to Esper, alright, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Doctor. Back with Valadin. And with that book in your hands, you've finished the ritual. As far as I'm concerned, you're the one that killed him. Anything happens to Esper. Anything. He just, without finishing the sentence, just backs off.
I'm going to pick up Abigale, sling her over my shoulder. I don't care if she's fighting back against that. Kneel down to the bandit, Basically, what I'm doing is I'm giving Bandit an order to run off in the opposite direction of wherever we decide to go and make as much noise as possible.
Please roll survival with advantage.
$18.
And you have Bardic. That lasts longer.
Oh, that's right. And I also rolled stealth, so technically 19th. It's just an extra 1.
D6.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll use the Bardic on that. You said a D6?
Yeah. It will expire, so I think this is the last chance for using it.
So 24.
Bandit bolts. It's sometimes astonishing how quickly dogs can run. You might forget at times, but this beast just takes off, and you just see a cloud of leaves kind of float to the ground where he was standing. And then as he gets far away in the other direction, you start hearing howling and then just all sorts of strange animal noises that it seems as though Bandit is putting on this performance that he is your dog and something's going on and people need to go in that direction. And as the carriage rides over the crest of the road, which I imagine you probably weren't having this conversation right on the road, I'll give the benefit of the doubt to the party there, that you have stepped off to the side and you hear, "Go check that out, come on!" And the carriage rides in one direction and you hear a few people jump off and take steps on foot near you.
Where are we heading, fellas? Need a decision now.
See? Our first priority is medical care. I think we have the best chances at the asylum.
Wes, can we get to the asylum? Like, I don't know how close we are to either of these places. You can see the Citadel. The asylum's on an island through a jungle, right?
It sounds like, Matt, you have a good idea. Do you want to describe from here to the asylum roughly?
Nihilus actually folds out open a map. He's been drawing the path a long way back in the ruins of the salt, back with Dredge, making a couple of notes, having guesses of where they are, having shared it with Vander before as well. Now seeing the Citadel, making educated guesses based off the distance, the sun, whatever he can use to make a pinpoint on where they are. It would be on the north, a little bit on the northwestern side of the Citadel, to the best guess of Nihilus's location. It would take almost a straight direct path south, close to the mountains, through forests, through rough terrain he doesn't know, and he will draw on the map that we have to go straight south to the other side of the island.
So how long will that take?
Let's see, 4 days of walking, eastern side.
Is that a river or a road
I think it's a road.
that leads from the Citadel down to...
I'm just gonna say my best guess before you say anything, Wes. Of course, you know better than I do, but Nihilus, or my best guess is, including rest, 2 full days.
So it seems I was incorrect about something. This road leads to the Citadel. It also leads in the other direction once you eventually will reach a split in the road directly to St. Seraphina's.
Okay.
So you'll find your way.
Equidistant, so about the same amount of time to each.
Mm-hmm. The Citadel is probably half of the time to St. Seraphina's. Then again, what you should know is, or let me just recount what you know and what you don't, because to help make a decision, because there's some technical aspect to what you might want to do. The Citadel is largely controlled by families. There's large wall where entrance and exit is patrolled. And what kind of doctors you'll find and where to find them might not be entirely clear, but it is certainly the closer option by half the time. St. Seraphina's, road, then ferry, and then island. It's isolated. That might be good or bad. Getting in, you know for sure, won't be an issue because the party has done that before. And then again, it is Esper's hell. So, hopefully that helps with the decision making.
If we are confident that Abigale and Esper can make it to St. Seraphina, that is Dr. Glass's vote. She knows that it's Esper's hell, but she knows that Esper does not want Dr. Glass to go to the Citadel, that she had this whole psychic confrontation with their hunter. Dr. Glass is kind of worried that if she goes to the Citadel, the world ends.
I just look towards Trevor.
I've made my position perfectly clear.
I can handle Faust. They need care. I believe this is what Esper would want, and that they're stronger than you're giving them credit for.
By all means, then. If it's her decision, lead the way.
Settled.
You start in the direction following the road. Now, you hear, not too far back, that there is still somebody following the same path, though the hills, the peaks and troughs in the road keep you out of sight for now. You can tell, as long as they keep up their efforts, they will eventually approach. What would you like to do?
I would like to cast Pass Without Trace on the party.
And hiding that one away.
I got it at 5th level.
You cast Pass Without Trace. And what does it look like?
I would imagine there are a lot of rituals and traditions that are passed down from water stalker to water stalker over the years. And it's not all people, men and women trying to go out there and find their way, to do these odd jobs for the nobility and whatnot. There are clerics and people who have some ability who've involved themselves to water stalkers over the years, and so these traditions get mixed in with magic. And this is Vander taking the time to commune with the nature around him, maybe offering a silent prayer, and just bowing and bending the nature around them to make their passage more silent and more hidden from those who would look for them.
As the party takes to the sides of the road and not on the road, the wind picks up around the trees, bow around you to the strong gusts, and the leaves pick up so frequently. Though you may be there, and though you may be visible, it's as if there's always a distraction that would cast somebody's eyesight away. And as your pace slows from within the trees, you can see each other from either side. 2 large guys, big sticks, threatening looking, pass by. And just as quickly as they come, so do they go. And eventually you'll reconvene out of the trees, having avoided a tense situation.
This will buy us an hour.
Let me know if you need help. I can buy the second hour.
Are there any objections to swinging forward to St. Seraphina's?
I'd like to have one conversation en route.
Sure.
And Nihilus would like to cast Find Familiar for making Raven in order to scout as much of the surrounding area if can, to just look out for any danger, obscurity, something on the road, just another little something to help with their journey.
Okay. You do so. A familiar appears crow and flies up into the sky to alert you if it finds anything. And Asteria, you wanted to have a conversation?
I'm wondering where Trevor is. And I'm looking for him.
Trevor's probably seated beside Esper. Right now, probably currently, beside probably a makeshift campfire, is now just taking a few of the little bits that have either been foraged or have been gathered up from the rations, and is basically just making a very shabby looking stew. It's currently just poking at it.
So she goes to, checks on Esper. Not much more she can do there than has been done, but, tries to make her as comfortable as possible as well. And while she's still bent over Esper, she looks at Trevor until Trevor looks at her.
There's just a good about 5 to 10 seconds where Trevor realizes that Doctor's staring at him and is still just eyes in the pot, just pretending like he's got something better to focus on before just eventually they do dart over to you.
I finished that ritual because Nihilus told me to, because he begged me to trust him, and I immediately continued. And it would be very easy for me to say something right now about, and I should have learned never to trust again, or that's what I get for listening to you men, or something like that. A few days ago, I certainly would have. We both know I also wanted to know about my kind. I don't think I would have done it if he hadn't told me. But it is the worst mistake I've ever made in my life, and I think you know that's saying something, Trevor. So I would suggest it is slightly unkind to throw that in my face. But I understand where it's coming from, and thank you for caring so much about her.
There's a pause. And he doesn't really make much eye contact. A few glances here and there. I don't know. I think there's part of you did it just because Nihilus told you to. I think there's part of you that just wanted to see what would happen. But I think that you and I both know that, someone tells you to do something and you doing it, right? That's something telling you to do something has never really stopped you from doing what you want to do before. I think, I don't know. And I'm serious, okay?
I know, but Trevor, I'm not saying Nihilus gave me an order and I obeyed him.
I know that.
I'm saying I care about trust, even though you think I don't.
What I'm thinking is that maybe people make choices, and then the choice to not make a choice, it's like its own choice. Right?
Agreed, heartily.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is maybe there was a part of you that wanted to trust Nihilus. Maybe there was a part of you that wanted to see what that ritual did. Both of those things can be true at the same time. Right? So, what I'm thinking is, would Esper want to go back to the hospital if she were awake to object? Right? And we can't answer that. You can't, and I can't. So, I want to make sure that you're making this decision with her in mind and not you.
And she looks a bit stung again, or surprised at least. She, I understand. I understand what you're saying. I think the thing I didn't explain about, I'm not trying to blame Nihilus or shirk my responsibility. None of us knew. It was a moment's decision. What I'm trying to say is, it was a moment where I knew nothing, where I had no frame of reference for what might or might not happen. I was out of my element and depth, and I had to make a choice. And what do you do in a situation like that? And Nihilus, it was his element. It was his area that he devoted his entire life to. So I looked to him, and he had a choice. He knew, or he knew what he wanted me to choose. That doesn't mean experts are always right. But you're right that not making a choice is a choice. Am I making sense?
I think there's a lot of points where we're talking that I don't get it. I think that there's things in this world that I'm just never going to know. And I'm okay with that. I understand. Whatever thing you have, whatever connection to this island you got, it's bigger than me. I think whatever you're meant to do here is it's big and it's important, and it's going to shake the foundations of this world. And I just wanted to kind of understand what that perspective is like, because I don't have that. I don't have much reason to be here but for me, and for you, and for Esper and Nihilus, and now for Vander.
That sounds like a lot of reasons. Trevor, I think I died in that factory. And I think Luminoth or something like him brought me back. Or most of me. Some things, well, I don't know. It's always possible that in the moment of almost death, my brain fired and gave me maybe I just imagined what happened, and then, but my kind doesn't dream. It would have been the first. I don't know if it's good that that's who wants me alive. And Esper's so powerful, and that power is perhaps destroying her. And that power is calling us to the Citadel. And we're not ready to face that. We're not ready, Trevor.
All I've got is you guys. That's all I've got. If I go now, I can either die alone, or I can die with you. So, I just want to make sure that we're moving forward. That, when I'm letting go of the ball, that the ball's gonna go somewhere. That we're not moving backwards. And with Esper, I see what she's been through, and
She's lucky to have you as a friend, Trevor. Oh, you'd think I'd be better at comforting people after all these years.
We gotta get up early.
There's a wisp of wind that casts its way through the trees, pattering your fire, stoking it even. And Vander, you see in the distance a red glow. Eventually everybody else sees it. Your crow, Nihilus, lands down on your shoulder with its beak pointed south. And a light plume of smoke from approximately where the citadel would be, retrospective to where you are, in its direction. The smoke is dark, like a building burning down, burning all the objects inside, and the plumage kind of rises to the sky. It's not city-sized, but it's large.
I wonder what that could be.
No clue. Throw it up on the list.
I try to get a window connection with my caca birdie to get better eyes in order to get a better understanding.
You can see from the eyes of a bird in the sky, the image being cast towards you, a replay, that small sections of the citadel in that wide wall that surrounds the central tower seem to have outcroppings of fires. Small ones, but together they rise as a larger plume.
Don't know what to say. It's a large fire, basically.
A controlled fire or a forest fire?
A fire very, very far away.
How much farther till we get to the asylum?
In the next day's walk, you'd arrive, most likely.
The citadel is on fire? Enough that we can see it?
This can't be a coincidence.
So it might be fortuitous that we didn't go there now.
Well, I'm sure there will be something bad waiting for us at the asylum as well, but I'm glad we're not on fire.
I'm going to send out my raven. I cannot communicate with it from large distances away, so we won't have an answer for quite some time, but perhaps when or if it returns, I do have some answers.
Its eyes flicker for a moment, green, and then it takes to the sky and flies towards the citadel.
Just right before going to bed, he takes the stew he's been cooking up, pours a little bowl for himself, and the second one just starts to take a little bit of a spoonful of just the broth, and is just going to slowly try and get Esper to eat something. And right before going to bed, just says to the doctor, my world's pretty small. If I die tomorrow, not a lot about the big wide world's gonna change. I know the kind of people that you work with, where being wrong is a death sentence, more or less. So, I just want you to know that with the right crowd, being wrong ain't so bad. The right crowd could even learn to like it. And kind of go back to his bunk.
One long rest later, and skipping to St. Seraphina's. The next day comes. As you get up, you take the road. Not so dangerous anymore. At least the people who were looking for you must be long gone by now, or have given up. And you continue down the path, making your way to a windy shore, a dock, and the same boat. As you broach the door, make your way in. You're greeted by a nurse who steps forward. Hi. Are you looking for a doctor?
I am a doctor, actually. Dr. Isadora Glass. We've been, as you can imagine, with everything going on the island, our travels have been unusual, and two of my traveling companions are in need of help that I could not give just out of my little bag here. It's rather urgent, I'm afraid.
She looks them over. First Esper and then Abigale. All right, let's see to it. And a team of nurses comes out. The nurses here, again, are rather... Nihilus, you're familiar with this, but Dr. Glass, you haven't been here before. They don't look like the hospital type of trained medical staff. They look stronger, bigger. Most of them are men. They wear the blue shirts, but they wheel out 2 gurneys and place each person on one, respectively.
I am familiar with asylum orderlies, if that's what we're dealing with here.
They are certainly orderlies. You can follow them to their rooms.
And I want to be clear, Miss, the young woman here, it's a simple physical situation. Salt lung is the colloquial term. It's getting a bit advanced. My patient here, Ms. Boira, it's a bit more complicated, and what we need now is relief fluids and to keep her stable so that I'm able to examine her in hygienic conditions.
Did you say Boira?
And wow, does Dr. Glass just want to disintegrate into a pile on the floor. Gift of Gab is a spell she does not have.
Darn shame.
Well, Salt Lung we're able to easily treat. We have the medicines for her. Your girl will be okay. And she extends her hand down the hall. You should join her, anybody who needs to.
That would be me. I'll be with her.
And as Vander goes off in one direction, a different wing of the hospital, you pass a glance before stepping through the doors, following Abigale. You see Bandit following closely behind Abigale as well. And now you said Ms. Boira.
Yes, what's your name, Miss? Nurse, Miss...
Florence.
Nurse Florence, have you been here long? At this hospital?
It couldn't have been more than 6 months.
Can I speak to you, doctor to nurse, just in a professional capacity? You may recognize the name because my patient was required to visit with a certain Dr. Faust at this facility, despite being under my care. And he gave her an unusual prescription of his own personal vintage, I suppose. And I believe that is a large part of why she's in the condition she's currently in.
Oh, well,
I suspect that even in 6 months, that tallies with what you know about Dr. Faust, am I correct?
oh, well, doctor, it's not my place to question a doctor such as yourself's decision, nor Dr. Faust. I'm sorry if you don't agree with his medical practice.
Oh, I would never say that. I would just say, I'm a doctor. She's my patient. All you need to do is, for the moment, is show us to a quiet, clean room. And we'll let you know if we need anything else.
Certainly. And the 2 orderlies and her wheel Esper into a quiet, clean room. And as the gurney approaches the bed, and Esper is lifted and transferred, I suppose everybody's here. Trevor, Nihilus, Dr. Glass. She says, well, that's that, and now I'll go get the doctor attending to her.
And what would their name be?
Oh, Miss Boyra, because she already has a doctor here, it will be Dr. Faust. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's good for he and I to get on the same page.
Of course.
Could you bring me a copy of her file?
That'll be the decision of Dr. Faust. Her attending.
Very well.
She steps away.
Well, one does what one can.
Trevor just goes and sits one of the corners facing the bed and is just going to kind of like leaning forward in the chair, just brace his jaw with his hands and is just going to sit there and wait.
I'd like to use... I guess I kind of like to use minor illusion and whatever's in my bag or around to make it seem like she's had an allergic reaction to a bad drug.
Okay. Hives appear along her arms. It looks like she's had swelling. Generally, she looks now like she's had some sort of allergic reaction. Footsteps come down the hall. And before you appears Dr. Faust. He walks in with a clipboard, clearly Esper's file. What seems to be the problem?
So this is, Dr. Faust, I assume? Foster?
Yes, that's me. I see we have Miss Boyra here. My patient, Miss Boyra. And I hear that she is not conscious.
I think you have the wrong room and the wrong... There must be someone with a similar name. This is Ms. Boyra, and she is my patient. Dr. Isidore Glass, pleasure to meet you.
He holds out his hand and goes to shake yours. Ah, yes. Boyra. One and the same. I'm not familiar with her being officially transferred to a new doctor. If there's an issue, you could certainly bring it up with the board, but
That's
I have her on my registry.
That's so strange. My friend, Mr. Von Stonen here, a man of the cloth, told me that you specifically were informed that she's under my care and released her back onto my care when she visited you earlier.
Hi.
Yes. She is under your supervision. I will consult you, doctor, to get your medical opinion on her as well. Though, I think it's important to note that she's come here to meet with me at this island. She would like to go see Dr. Neville Pettifogger. Does that name ring a bell to you, Dr. Glass?
Oh, certainly. I think it rings a bell to us all. How could it not with those ghastly signs?
A tincture salesman.
Yes.
I think we can both agree that that's not in her best interest.
No, and she has changed her mind about that, fortunately.
Oh, good. In that case, I'll be able to treat her then.
I think you've perhaps done enough, haven't you?
You're here, which means she needs help. And I don't think you're the one who's providing it to her. So...
Yes, that stuff you gave her the last time you were here. I don't suppose you had given her much of an examination or looked at her history of medication. I don't know what was in that, but that seems to be why we are here.
Did she have a poor reaction to it?
Yes, to say the least.
And what exactly was her reaction, Doctor?
Well, there were several reactions, but behold.
Hives, swelling. That's odd, because she's not allergic to slow ether.
That wasn't just slow ether, though, was it, Doctor?
Was it now? What do you think it was?
I wish I knew for sure. It was certainly a strange color.
Like condensed slow ether, twice as potent, and often comes with a yellow tint.
And what gives it that tint?
Because it's condensed. He is like putting on this show of, being high and mighty on his high horse. When you condense slow ether, boil it down, it becomes more potent. You can fit more in a vial. Sometimes I'll prescribe a more potent dose so my patients can get more usage of their prescriptions. It goes a longer way and they don't have to come back.
Yes, and what is the source of slow ether? Pray tell.
You seem educated enough to tell us.
I am educated enough. You perhaps only know me from my books, Doctor, but I am close colleagues with Dr. Julian Hilliard. I was a frequent present in his lab. I know a great deal about the development of the ethers and their sources. The plant pod that it is drawn from is toxic in sufficient amounts. That is why distilling it and condensing it is discouraged. And because sensitivity to that toxin varies greatly. That is why we always test the sensitivity before we ever prescribe condensed slow ether. I am so surprised you are unaware of that.
Yes, and as a doctor, it's my job to make sure my patients can live a normal life. And sometimes, as a doctor, we prescribe things that, though might be in some way risky, I weigh the odds of that person surviving, of living the life they want to live. And we prescribe that risky substance. Esper here, if you don't know her file, has attacked orderlies, has hurt herself. I don't think she's capable of surviving without some sort of prescription. But it seems like you're doing well enough on your own. I guess you don't need me. He taps the quill on his clipboard, sticks it into a little holder. Is that it then?
Do for now. And she says that as though he's won this round.
Wash basin's there. The door is right around the corner. Decide. Will she be treated by me, or will you be taking her back to your facility?
This is malpractice, Faust.
And who's going to stop me? This island is surrounded by salt. There's riots in the streets. Right now, it looks to me like she needs some adrenaline for an allergic reaction. It's in the drawer over there.
Wes, do I think that actually might help with... obviously, I know she's not having an allergic reaction, but would that help wake her? Or is this terrible?
You, with what you know, for free as a doctor, adrenaline probably would wake her, but it might also not be the first choice if she's simply unconscious.
Give her a heart attack.
There's other options a doctor would try first. Adrenaline is, but for an allergic reaction, that would absolutely be one of the first choices. Epinephrine is effectively adrenaline.
How harmful is this going to be to her, to my knowledge?
Roll a medicine check. As a doctor of the mind,
I have a medical degree in the healer feat and the physician background. But yes, of course, I've not done this in a while. That's a natural 20.
all right. So, with what you know about adrenaline, again, like I said, it wouldn't be the first choice. Would it bring her back? Very likely, if she's present and capable enough to come back. Though, if she... there's a reason why doctors will play careful options first.
Yeah.
And that's because if she's not completely stable, adrenaline could kill her. If there's an issue with her heart, adrenaline could kill her. Let's just say it's much riskier than just starting with smelling salts. And you'd understand as a doctor that there is a big risk there.
And she's not having trouble breathing, correct?
No.
Abigale is, but she's not.
No.
So I go and get the vial from the drawer, and the syringes probably don't exist yet, so it's that weird thing where you just poke a hole in someone. Yay, medical history, it's a nightmare. And I go to do it, and I say, Faust, her breathing is stable. Are you sure you want to use the adrenaline on this and risk an infection at the site? We could just let her rest and monitor her.
I would agree with that. When's the last time she had a dose of slow ether?
Yeah. I assume she didn't usually take it in front of me, but by the looks of this, I would say this morning. Probably also contributing to her somnolence.
If that's the case, then we should keep her under observation for now. Though, I will say, if she's undergoing the effects of withdrawal with the dosage she was taking, stopping her regiment could be damaging. But if it was recently, then it was recently. And he nods his head. I'll come back to check on you later.
That's an excellent idea. We'll do that plan. Thank you, Dr. Faust.
He steps away, walking into the hallway. And that could be a good place to end today's session as well.